Hey everyone, this is Ross, and this video is a request video from Daughter's Boy, who asked me to do a profile on each and every one of these plants. These are all the species of plants I have. Even though I've got other aquariums, I've got all the same species, so I'm just going to start at my left and work my way right. So this broadleaf plant here is Anubias barteri. There's many different varieties of Anubias. There's Anubias nana, which is quite common in the aquarium trade. It's got very waxy leaves and it's got quite a good root system. You can have this growing above water, but the air needs to be quite humid and it needs to have boggy conditions. It prefers to be tied to rocks, wood, old roots. It does prefer to be tied to wood rather than rocks, because wood's a bit more porous and it's easier to get its roots around, but it'll grow fine on rocks. One downside of this plant is it grows very, very slowly, and algae will actually grow faster than it and it'll grow on a few of its leaves. So if you're prepared to scrape off a bit of algae every now and again, it's quite a good plant. If you're not, then don't get it. One way you can combat this algae is to get a CO2 diffuser and a CO2 system, because algae actually relies on oxygen to kind of thrive. So if there's not much oxygen there, then the algae won't survive. It might affect the fish though, so that's your opinion. This is a mystery plant. I suggested that it looked a bit like narrowleaf Ludwigia. Someone said it looked like something else. I forget what they said it was, but you can research that yourself. Just type in red plants on Google. I'm sure you'll find something. This bushy type of plant is Water Sprite. Another common name is the Indian fern. I'm guessing it comes from India or around Asia. It can root in any type of substrate, dirt, gravel, sand. Very good plant. You can have it floating. It's great at absorbing nutrients from the water, and it stops algae, so that's another way you can keep algae off Anubias. So these work great in conjunction. It does absolutely great in dirt. It's one of the fastest growing plants I know. It's always green. The only time it'll be black is when you cut one of the leaves and the rest of that leaf dies off and turns black, but that very rarely happens. If you want to propagate this, then just cut off a leaf with a root attached to it and plant that in the substrate or float it. But what will sometimes happen, as I mentioned earlier, is the rest of that leaf will turn black and die. The rest of the plant should be okay though. Very good plant. I'd highly recommend it, and it's readily available and it's cheap. This long narrow plant is Java fern. There's different varieties of this, as with most plants. There's Java fern Windelove, and there's narrow leaf varieties. It comes from around Asia, East Asia, places like that. It's very good. This is a bit like Anubias in the fact that you have to tie it to rocks, wood, old roots. I've just got it tied to a piece of wood here. It gets more nutrients from wood than rocks, so I'd recommend tying it to wood. When it's first been established in the tank, it grows pretty bad and slow, and it gets algae on it everywhere. But if you're prepared to clean off for the first few months, it'll be okay. And then once it gets rooted into wood, it starts to grow a bit faster, and you don't get as much algae build-up on the leaves. And actually, I just leave this to do what it likes. I've left it for 2 months now, well, 1 or 2 months, and I've had no problems with this plant. It's great. There's tons of new growth up there, and apparently the more you cut it, the more it grows, because I started off with about 1 to 2 plants of this, and I basically separated them out, cut some of the roots off, tied it to this, and now look what I've got a jungle of other stuff. So it's not a super fast grower, it's not a super slow grower, it's kind of in between. It's very good. I like it. It's one of my favourite plants. Kind of parallels with Ludwigia. I like Ludwigia too, so it's a good beginner plant as well. So yeah, that's Java fern. This very tall one is Ludwigia rubens. This is a background plant, and it's finely touching the top. If you go back to when I first set this tank up, I think it was a month or 2 months ago, it was like very close to the gravel, but now it's actually touching the top, so It just shows you how fast this plant grows. In my aquarium it's green. It's got a slightly red underside to the leaves, but not too much. And to get this plant a beautiful red colour, you need to add iron to your water or some sort of fertiliser. It'll do great in dirted tanks because this is dirted and it grows really fast, but if you want nice red growth, just add some fertilisers every now and again. I've had no complaints about this plant so far. It's good for the fish to go and hide in, it's good for the fish to spawn in. Yeah, overall it's just a great plant. I love it. It fills in a tank, fills in spaces. If you've got a space in your tank, just put in some Ludwigia, it'll take off, and just leave it. Very good plant. This grass-like plant is Dwarf Sag or Dwarf Sagittaria. Again, this is a very good plant. There's different varieties of Sag. Also there's different varieties of Ludwigia. There's narrow leaf and whatnot. You can research those. Yeah, but Sag, very nice. This species grows low. It's dwarf. It'll melt when you first put it in your tank, but after it melts, it'll grow very nice. Quite a fast growing plant. It spreads by use of runners that go underneath the substrate and pop up somewhere else. So yeah, it doesn't need any additional CO2 or any lights that are too powerful. I mean, it'll do okay with very low light, as long as you've got a good substrate or fertilisation. I'm using dirt, so I don't really need fertilisation. Yeah, it's good to plant 2 to 3 centimeters apart, just to let things like Cory cats swim through it. Because in this tank I've tried to infuse, I've tried to make it practical as well as look good, because I like my Cory cats to scrat around the bottom. It's good for them, get plenty of exercise. So I've kind of made a labyrinth of chambers down there, and I've planted the Ludwigia 1 to 2 centimeters apart. So really the Cory cats can go anywhere on the floor in this aquarium, even though it looks densely planted. Yeah, great plant. I'd highly recommend it. Can survive a variety of different temperatures. I think this is native to Florida. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's from Florida. Ludwigia rubens, I think it's native to some place in America. I'm not sure where. Yeah, great plant. This is my final plant here. It's Java moss. There's different varieties of mosses. There's peacock moss, flame moss, Taiwan moss, Xmas moss. There's loads of different types. I've had peacock moss before, and I've also had this, so it's very good. To propagate it, all you do is rip off a chunk and tie it to something else. It does best on wood. If you tie it to wood, like Anubias and Java fern, actually grows around Anubias and looks quite nice, like I've tried to do there. Shrimps love to graze on it. It's good for fry. Fish will breed in it. It's just a great plant all around. To create a carpet of this, just tie it to little pebbles or tie it to mesh. You can buy mesh off eBay. You can have like a wall of it on the back of your tank. Just buy some mesh off eBay or Amazon and tie it to the mesh, and then put suction cups on, and you'll have a nice wall of this moss. And you can tell that shrimps like this stuff because there's actually a shredding. So a shrimp is actually molted on there, so it shows you how long they spend on there. Lately the shrimps have been in the water sprite, but yeah, they love it. They eat the tiny leaves off it. It does better with fertilisation. So yeah, great plant. It's a slow grower though, but it's easy to care for, and yeah, it's great. Also, some bits of like detritus and bits of poo might be caught in it every now and again, so it's worth getting a few shrimp just to clean it. So yeah, that was just moss. Right, so that's pretty much every plant in this tank covered. If you want to hear about any more plants, just let me know, because I'm very good with aquatic plants, as you might know. So yeah, that was me just giving you a profile on my plants. Please check out James Fish Tank's channel. I'll put a link in the description, because he had another channel that had quite a lot of subscribers, and now he's like made a new channel for some reason, so he hasn't got many subscribers, so I'm trying to help him out. So you just visit the link in the description.